In the long and violent history of human conflict, wars are usually remembered for bloodshed, battles, and weapons, but there exists a rare and powerful story of an army that achieved victory without fighting. This is the story of a military force that proved true power does not always come from swords or guns, but from intelligence, strategy, and psychological warfare. When two powerful sides stood on the edge of destruction, the world expected a brutal war. Armies were ready, weapons were sharpened, and fear spread across the land. Yet, instead of marching into chaos, one army chose a different path, a path of wisdom over violence. Their leaders understood that the greatest victory is not defeating an enemy on the battlefield, but breaking the enemy's will to fight before a single arrow is fired. The opposing force was larger, stronger, and heavily armed, confident that their military superiority guaranteed success. But confidence slowly turned into doubt when the smaller army began executing a master plan built entirely on deception and mental pressure. Instead of attacking, they spread carefully crafted rumors, exaggerated their strength, and displayed calm discipline that made the enemy question reality itself. Scouts returned with conflicting reports, commanders argued, and fear began to grow within the enemy camp. This silent battle of the mind proved more effective than any sword. The enemy started fighting among themselves, losing unity and trust, while the other army remained perfectly united and controlled. At the heart of this strategy was the belief that war is won first in the mind. The generals understood human psychology deeply. They knew fear spreads faster than fire and confusion can destroy even the strongest armies. By controlling information and timing, they created an illusion of an unstoppable force. The enemy imagined ambushes everywhere and believed resistance would lead to total annihilation. Without a single clash, morale collapsed. Soldiers deserted, leaders panicked, and alliances fell apart. What weapons could not achieve, strategic intelligence accomplished with ease. This moment stands as one of history's most powerful lessons. Victory does not always require violence. Ancient philosophers and military thinkers often spoke of the highest form of warfare being the one where no blood is spilled. This army embodied that philosophy completely. They demonstrated discipline, patience, and long-term vision, understanding that reckless aggression often leads to unnecessary destruction. Their restraint shocked the world and redefined what it meant to be strong. Strength was no longer measured by body count, but by the ability to end conflict without creating widows and orphans. When the enemy finally surrendered, it was not because they were defeated in battle, but because they were defeated in belief. They no longer believed they could win. The victorious army entered cities without resistance, welcomed not as conquerors, but as a force of order and stability. History remembers this event as a triumph of intellect over force. It changed how future leaders thought about war, diplomacy, and power. Kings and generals studied this strategy for centuries, realizing that the smartest move is often the one that avoids destruction altogether. Even today, this story remains deeply relevant. In modern times, conflicts still rage across the world, but the lesson remains clear: true power lies in thinking ahead. Whether in politics, business, or personal life, those who master strategy, patience, and understanding human nature often win without fighting. The army that won without fighting left behind more than a victory. It left behind a timeless lesson for humanity. A reminder that sometimes the greatest battles are never fought, and the strongest warriors are those who know when not to raise their weapons.